don't have my microphone, so I'm gonna see how this goes. I don't live near anywhere where I can buy one either because I just don't. I'll have to go to more downtown, but that's not your problem. That's mine. That's my problem. I was looking through my old notes, and I have a lot of notes saved on my, on my phone, and I have a lot of video notes too. That's how this whole channel started anyway. I was taking video notes of things that during the day where I would think of something. If I didn't feel like writing it down, what I would do is I would just take out a camera and record it. Just whatever random thought that seemed significant at the time, because you do have these mini breakthroughs. I get them a lot when I wake up in the morning, first thing, and that's why I do those wake up videos there. But really significant shit too. I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh wow, so that's why water is like that. You know what I mean? Something like that, something ridiculous. But most of the time it's not all that important. But some of them are good. Some of them turn out good. So I was always making these little clips that I had between my phone and my pad. So then when I decided to start uploading them, a lot of them, there's still some on this channel here, but a lot of them really aren't all that watchable, because when you're not cognizant of making some sort of presentation, which has to be somewhat conversational to another side other than yourself, it's kind of stilted and weird, and it's not really all that watchable. But there's still a couple that survived that are on the channel here somewhere. But I was going through all my notes of things that I thought of that were interesting, or that I was keeping notes of as all these things happen. 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, the thought of keeping notations of my notes or video would be at worst pretentious. No, at best pretentious. At worst retarded. But when all this stuff started happening, a lot of things that we're experiencing, the malleability of reality, basically, that would cover the whole thing. You start seeing things, you start understanding things. It all comes back to the whole veil situation. The illusion of it's breaking down. They're not able to maintain it anymore, and that goes along with the dying beast. It's the same thing. It's all connected. So things that you would notice before, as I've gone over many times, you notice now, and sometimes they just come out of nowhere. Just they'll hit you during the day, like that. That's why there's 24 hours, or that's why, There's just these things because you have the answers anyway. The answers are all inside you, and like I've said, not in a hippy-dippy way, but they're actually encoded in your DNA. All the information you need to ever have, or any question you'll ever ask, it's all coded in there. And when you say words like coded, people tend to think, oh, so it's like a simulation. We're living in... No, we're not living in a simulation. We're not copying computers. The computers and the structure is copying us. It's based on us, not back and forth. Not back and forth. I mean, not vice versa. Vice versa or vice versa. The point is, we're not copying the computer's copying us, because we're a great machine. And they're not going to make something better than what we have. They'll tell you they will, but they can't. Even this artificial intelligence, it's not even real artificial intelligence. I don't think it's possible to create real artificial intelligence. It really isn't, because you need the one divine aspect that I always talk about, and that's imagination. A machine has no imagination. A computer has no imagination. Only we do. Only we are creators. We're the ones that create the shit. We can think of stuff. And that's what differentiates us from any sort of possible AI. You can make them as route thinking. You can certainly make them as smart as most people. That's for fucking damn sure. But they're never going to be able to imagine. And without imagination, there is no creation. And that's what we do. That's such an important thing that's downplayed. They always try to get, especially in school, they, for the most part, outside of special circumstances, they sideline the artistic sort of creative, and it's always looked at as, well, that's nice, but you have to have high scores in the more academic subjects, because what they want you to be really is just a good cog in the wheel. That's it. It's a compartmentalized educational kind of system. Like, they teach you to do one thing, or you have to pick one thing. And that always blows my mind, like being, freshman year of high school, and you got some gas bag demanding I pick something. Well, what do you want to do? It's like, dude, I have no idea. I'm just trying to figure out if I want to get the Master Puppets, or if I want to get Peace Sells, but who's buying? I can only afford one today. That's what's going on in my mind, not what you want to do for the rest of your life. Because they want to compartmentalize you as quickly as possible and gear you into being able to be the master of your own box. As the master of your own box, you only have knowledge of your box. You don't know what's happening outside that box. You don't know what the larger effects are of the work you do in the box. And ultimately what happens is you don't know how you're affecting the bigger picture or the larger pool around you, to a point where it's almost like this whole system kind of runs by itself. Like, there's not many people you could grab. Like, people always think like, well, there's some sort of hierarchy and there's people at the top that really know what's going on. There's some, but there's not many people that you could grab and shake and demand the plan from, because they're all doing their own thing. And I think that it would keep running the way it is, even if the ones who put it in motion in the first place were all to die off. It would just keep running without any direction. It was created to be that way. Men normally don't make multi-generational plans. See, the light says go, but nobody's moving. I wonder why. Oh, this is why. People just hanging out here. Hello. Oh yeah, it's kind of madness here sometimes. Just trying to go to the store. It's like a challenge. But yeah, men don't make plans for things that they're not going to see in their lifetime. You don't, outside of the, kindly grandfather who will plant a tree for his grandson. Evil people don't do that. Evil wants a return on investment almost immediately. This is how they operate. So it's not human, it's something else, right? So what is it? Well, it's the same thing that's behind everything bad. There's two forces, good one and evil one, the duality, whatever, however you want to, parse that out. But there is a main force that is negative. And that's what drives everything. The other day I did a video that I ended up uploading because it was like the microphone was kicking out. That's why I don't have it now. But and I was talking about how people always say God is watching, and I used to hear that and be like, it sounds so lame. Like, what do you mean God's always? And because of the way they made me think about religion and divinity and God and stuff growing up, I picture like some dude with a beard and sandals sitting in a chair, you know, watching me in the shower, because it's what they want you to think. And then and to be repulsed by it, be like, fuck that shit. That's not real. It's not happening. But God always is watching. It's just not in the way you think about it. It's like it's the positive force. One's through all divine beings. Everything you do is seen, and everything you do is checked. But I mean, I really even can't conceive of how that works, but I know it does. You're seen all the time, but not in a way so that someone's watching you. I look at it like it's almost like it's being recorded, right? Like those cameras where someone will break into a house or something, or they break into a store, and then later on they play the camera back. They're not watching it as it's happening. It's kind of like that, or at least that's what I think it's kind of like. And it goes through everyone that has divinity and is part of the group consciousness, or the, you know, the cosmic library, whatever you fucking want to call it. This guy's insane. But yeah, it's just everywhere. It's everywhere. It's in us. It's around us. It sees everything that's done, but not in a creepy way. As good as I can explain it. But in the same way, the negative side is also viewing things in the same way. They're both watching at all times, and they're both checking actions, you know, keeping like a score. And this is to, I don't know, maybe like rate your divinity. I look at it sort of like a video game. You know, I always tell people, hey, you know, you pick up that garbage off the ground, that's 5 points. You know, you help the old woman get into hold the door, that's 5 points. You know, I look at it like that. But the thing is, you don't do these things, or you shouldn't do these things, because you're going to go before some sort of judge that's outside of you. It automatically changes your shit as it happens. It's like it happens, what is that word? Like automatically, but it isn't looked at, evaluated, and then added to your score. It's just happening as it's happening. At least this is kind of what I've come to understand through observation and study and things like that. So I was doing this video about how God is always watching, but so is the devil or Satan, whatever you want to call that evil force. Names for these things change region by region, religion by religion, but it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing, just different, you know. It's the same but different. I gotta give this guy some money. Thank you. Thank you. I always give that guy money because he adds to the area. A lot of people don't add to the area. They come here and they take from the area, whether it's to make a mess or trash. Just use it as like a playground. But no one, or not often, do people actually add something. You know, so some of these guys out here that are playing music and stuff, they add to the area. You know, they're giving something, even if it's like just spiritually or something. They're giving instead of taking. You know, and you got to appreciate that. Some people don't though. I see like that dude in particular so many times. Like he'll just be jamming, and some tourists will come up to him and like stop him playing and ask him where a restaurant is. It's like you're just fucking Those are the people that are soulless, fucking don't have anything going on. You know? I can almost, you can almost see when you see people, you can almost kind of figure it out almost right away now. At least I can. And I'm not saying you should treat them any different. In fact, it would hurt your soul, karma, whatever it is, if you treated them less. I mean, you got to treat them as you treat anyone. That's just how it should be. I mean, it's weird that when I say stuff like that, it's like I've always just kind of known that, and I think most people do. You know.
Yeah.
And what it does to me is that, I used to not understand how people could do like really psychopathic things or murder or rape and things like that, and I think it all comes down to divinity. I don't think anyone with the divine spark of creativity or can see an apple in their head or has an inner dialogue, I just don't think those people are the rapists of the world. Now, when you're an organic portal and you're just an empty shell who's moved by whatever frequency you're on, you don't really have the same amount of empathy. You can't put yourself in someone else's shoes. So therefore, stuff like that just comes naturally. It's kind of scary, but I mean, I think that's, from what I've observed and from what I understand, that seems to be the way it is. So anyway, I keep getting off the track here, which I do a lot. Crazy trade. Crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people, Willem Dafoe. But so I finished this video, right, and I'm all done with it, about how that, the devil sees everything, whatever, the same thing as God. So I'm over here actually, and I'm like, I'm gonna go into Longs for a minute, get like a candy bar or something, because I was feeling 12 or something. So I go in there and I get Reese's peanut butter cups. And what is my change? $6.66. So I'm like, you get those messages. So then I go out front to sit down, and to continue my 12-year-old afternoon, I start playing a mobile game. And I took pictures of the stuff. I'm going to put them on my Instagram. And I go from there, from getting the 666 change, to logging into this game I play. And you have these little diamonds that you collect to do shit. And I had 666 of them. Now what that says to me is the same thing that happens when you get like good numbers or good confirmation. What it's basically just saying is, yeah, I'm watching you, or yeah, you can see, or yeah, I see you, or whatever. It comes from both sides. The thing is, you kind of have to, whereas the evil side, the bad side, is always kind of chasing you. You kind of have to go out of your way to follow the good side. It's a little bit harder. You have to not work more. It's not work. It's just the incentive has to be on you. Whereas if you just sit back and do nothing, evil will come right to you. Because it's always there. It's always sitting around, like around you, waiting to get in and waiting for you to hit those low frequencies to become depressed or sad or angry. You get that low frequency, dirty energy that they just sail in on. Because those kind of entities move on those low energy frequencies. That's just how they work. So when you get to, if you could bring yourself down to those frequencies by your emotions, they can get right in. But yeah, so basically that whole story was talking about the devil, and he was like, yep, I hear you. Going into Longs. All right, don't blame the teacher, blame the school.